Yes, what is up, everyone? It's the Jimmy Conrad Power Hour. I'm Jimmy Conrad, and if you've been a loyal follower of the show since it's been revamped from what I did before, you'll notice that the microphone is in a different spot. Also, you'll notice that I've got a water bottle holding up the microphone because that's how we roll here. The production quality is just off the charts. Anyways, I appreciate you guys coming in. If you heard before the slate, we got a great show for you guys today. We have a very special guest, Amir Lowery in particular, one of my former teammates who is now running for Congress. What? That is next level. We're going to bring him on in a second. We also are going to preview a lot of La Liga matches, talk about anything that's happening in Juventus versus AC Milan or Hoffenheim versus RB Leipzig that's going on right now. I mean, we're going to be starting here pretty soon. Unbelievable show. We got Stump Jimmy. We have Lone Sign Sal. We have a new debate show called Offside versus Onside. And I think I said that the opposite, but you guys get to judge and tell us what the topics should be. And then you guys got to act as the VAR, as you can see here, and then judge who won and who didn't. It's me versus John Hudson. It should be a very good one. And what I want to do in the future is to bring on a subscriber to take me on in a debate as well. So keep that in mind. If you haven't subscribed yet, now you have a good reason why. So yeah, it should be a great show. But while you guys are thinking through topics, I want to bring on the man, myth, and future legend. He's already a legend to me because I've known him for so long, but he's going to be a legend to you guys in the very near future. And it is Amir Lowery. Amir, thank you so much for coming on the show, man.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it. I appreciate talking to you. Always a pleasure to catch up.
It is always a pleasure to catch up. The last time that we were together was at the MLS Players Association, the Rookie Symposium. And it was after I was done doing my spiel and trying to brainwash the youth of America. And we were in the gym and we were just running and talking about what we could do different and how we could help the game.
Yep.
And so now let's fast forward to this announcement that I see that you put on. And it's you saying you're going to run for Congress.
Yes, sir.
You held out on me. I don't understand. You were holding out on me. What was the impetus? What was the catalyst for you to say, you know what, I've heard enough. I have to step up and do something?
Yeah, I want to set the record straight first and say that you were running in the gym that day. I was not running. I was, I think, doing some very light planks and workouts. Meanwhile, you're doing interval training, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, I should push myself a little bit harder here. But no, I with something like running for office, I felt like I needed to, hold my cards close and to be super forthcoming. It's been a passion of mine, something I've thought about for a long time. And just the state of politics in DC and the state of government in DC have been things that, throughout 36 years of my life, I've been, in tune with, well, at least when I was old enough to understand them. And everything now is just the right time and it's presented itself well. So I'm putting myself forward and, trying to make sure that, there's more visibility and accountability in office, basically.
No, and I love that about you, Amir. Taking responsibility is not easy. And so for everybody watching, it's one thing to talk the talk and say, yes, I'm going to make a fundamental change in my life to either hopefully help out with this racism problem that we have in this country, or climate change, or the classism that's there because there's a big gulf between rich and poor. There's so many things to tackle. Now, when you run for office, though, this is where the big step is. It's one thing, again, to talk about it. When you run for office, you are basically naked. You're on full display because now you're going to get nitpicked for every little thing that you believe in, and you have to defend yourself and really stand up for what you believe in a different type of way, where there are going to be people dressing you down. They don't even know you. They don't know where you've come from or what you're going to do. Are you ready for that part of it, Amir? I mean, I know that you are in some ways, but I feel like it's a whole different thing, especially, and I would vote for you 100,000 times if I could, if I was in your district. I mean, all the voting stuff's, it's crazy anyway, right? I saw this great tweet, and I want you to talk about this. I saw this great tweet that said you can take a picture of a check that you got, and that money can get deposited into your bank account right away. But we can't figure out voting. Like, we have the technology, clearly, to do stuff that can be secure.
Yep.
As important as that. But we somehow, it just feels like the whole system's rigged a little bit. And so, how do you, that might be strong, but it feels like it. And how do you address that and amongst many other issues?
Yeah, well, two great questions you pose there. One, I think, to that latter point, mm, we I started with accountability and visibility and some transparency. I think we want to see more of that. I'm calling out for that, and part of my campaign will be demanding some of that. Um, I I don't think that we can really achieve that until we have new leadership, right, and new people setting the course for what those elections look like. Shorter lines, you've seen that, and just the ridiculousness around actually just being able to vote, amidst COVID. But we need people to put themselves forward and jump out there and just assume that mantle. And I would also add in, I made this point to other people, and I want to make it throughout my campaign. I'll make it to you. I think you're a person that could fits the mold in a lot of ways. You cross the aisle, so to speak. You can relate to a lot of different people. And us as athletes, as soccer players, we have super diverse communities, right? And it's something in our skill set that translate, meaning our skill set translates to politics and government, I think, better than people would let us on to believe. So hopefully throughout this run, I don't know if any other MLS, USL players, or former pros have run for office, but I want to make that statement loud and clear too. I think when you pull on a jersey, like you did, you pull on the national team jersey, that's a really big deal. You're saying I'm opening myself up to criticism, right? When you pull on the Kansas City jersey and you pull down the armband and you said, I'm going to do this in a certain way, you're opening yourself up to criticism. When you make that mistake, that's coming. And that's kind of where we've been trained up for this, and that accountability is something we live day to day in the pro sports world. So,
So what you're saying is that you're used to it. You're used to the pressure and putting yourself out there. Well, so
aren't
I
we
guess
though?
no, that's true. So that's true. So what I wanted to say is, because you brought it up, how has this game helped you, soccer that is, the beautiful game, kind of helped shape your worldview and how
Yeah.
you want to run for office? Because, and I guess another question that I have, and I've got a ton of questions, Amir. That's why I love doing this. Obviously you're black in America, so how does that also shape
Yeah.
obviously what you want to do, and the police brutality and the reform that has to happen, and we have the
Right.
jails and the prison stuff that's just overused, overpopulated, and hurting people that are doing minor offenses. There's just so much to work on.
Yep.
So I guess, how does that, these two, let's say black in America and playing soccer, kind of help
Yep.
shape how you want to approach office?
For sure. Yeah. So I would start by saying, so my my soccer experience and my worldview, right, are playing soccer. You get such a unique kind of introduction to what life is and what sport is, even that it's an international sport, right? People from all backgrounds are playing it. I went to bilingual school from preschool and elementary school, and kept my ability to speak Spanish from there, fluently. So that helped me engage more with people that I met and played with. Um, and traveling, I played at Wake Forest University, then in Denver for the Rapids, in Kansas City for the Wizards, now Sporting, in San Jose for the Earthquakes, in Montreal for the Impact, and for North Carolina FC, formerly the Railhawks. I went on stints and training stints overseas. We traveled, to Argentina one preseason, amongst others, with Kansas City. But all those experiences kind of shape all of us as people, and that's a smidgen of where I've been, through soccer, and taking that and finishing my career and coming back to DC. Yeah, it's given me a lot of confidence to go forward, and I can speak with a range of people and connect with people from all walks of life, and I think that's what the job requires. And then, I would say that how does, being black and the conversation around how that shapes my run for office is that's a long and in-depth conversation. I will lead off with what I feel is my responsibility as an African American um, who is in a position like I'm in. And a lot of people have come before myself and blazed a certain trail and really cleared a path so that people like that look like me and people like me can step forward and do this. So that's top line. We've been fighting this fight, and it's been, it's come to the surface with everything that's happened recently in our country. But for me, and in building um, my my understanding of myself and my design and my understanding of why this is for me, um, you know, that is most important. That responsibility to blaze a trail, inspire other people. Young black men don't generally run for office. Young African Americans, I don't think, run for office. And same way I mentioned athletes.
Do you
And I
think, wait,
think,
really, just to cut you off, do you feel like that is because they don't see it? I mean, obviously, Barack Obama really paved the way in the most epic way of all time by becoming president. But
yeah,
do you think it's just visibility, or do you feel like it's just like, nobody will vote for me anyway? And that, well, I guess it kind of
I
goes
think,
hand in hand,
well,
right? They're just why am I going to put all this effort forward when
yeah,
there aren't any people that look like me in power
yeah.
positions?
I think, I think it's just not. Nobody has made that connection. I can think of a couple people who have crossed over, so to speak. From um, professional sports to government, but making it cool, so to speak, and making it, something desirable is important. And right now it's not. We exchanged maybe one or two messages about AOC's persona and how she's kind of what she does outwardly on Twitter mainly, but that seems cool to people. It makes people want to step forward, I think, and for the African American community, for African American athletes, for athletes more broadly, for soccer players. I'm hoping that some of this, and I don't want to equate myself to her level, but I'm hoping that some of this is inspirational and pushes the needle and makes it something that people say, "Oh, I can do this too."
No, and I love that.
Because
No, I want to say one thing too, and they haven't said it yet, I think, in the chat. But what I want to say is, are we the first stop on your campaign trail? Are we? I know you put it out there like on social media, but I mean, are we? Is this your first speaking engagement about this run?
this is the first live
Yes,
action. You got it, man. This is it.
yes. That's
Um,
unbelievable. I mean, this is a special occasion. Thank you so much for granting that. I didn't realize that until right now. I'm like, wait a second. Is this the first
yeah,
stop? Are we Iowa for him? You know what I mean? Are we the state of Iowa? We're the first stop on the campaign
that's
trail.
it.
Amazing. Okay, and then second, uh, big respect for the Colin Kaepernick jersey that you're wearing. But I find it funny in some ways that you're wearing a U.S. soccer hat because they just had to repeal their national anthem policy because they once put a rule in that didn't allow Megan Rapinoe to kneel and peacefully protest during the national anthem. Yeah, your thoughts on any part of that? I'll let you jump in and pick
Yeah,
which spot you want to jump in.
yeah. We all have thought about this and poured over it a lot of different ways. So I'll give a specific angle to this, and your uh, your network and the broader network can dissect and appreciate it. However, but I looked at the U.S. Soccer Council statement, and several of them put it out on social media. And what I didn't hone in on the actual statement. I looked at the actual council and the makeup of it. And I don't know that it's been discussed more broadly, or, if the process, you know, to get to that council is transparent, and is out there for everyone to see. But there are no Black or African American players on that, to my knowledge. And I did a quick, overview and looked at everyone's background. But if there is one, I'll walk that back. But something needs to be done in my mind, because I know several players that should be sitting on that council. And then the point I'm making is that perhaps we wouldn't be where we are with Kaepernick and the anthem and that band with Rapinoe if there were some athletes there that could speak to the Black experience. So that would be my commentary there. And, there's certainly a lot of qualified people. It's just a matter of, making that happen. I think so. I am as proud as you to be an American and to represent U.S. soccer as best as I can. And, I'm like all of us trying to fight for the best ends for U.S. soccer. And that's what that statement, and me saying that is. I think there needs to be that same visibility and accountability in practices, and understanding like why those leadership roles are there like they are, right? And with U.S. soccer specifically, I think it's too broad of a body to not look at that and, address it, quite
Yeah.
frankly.
No, no. There's a lot of things that they are in the midst of that they need to take care of, including the women's salary dispute and whatever it is.
Right.
It's some diversity. I know that they took budget away from some diversity stuff, which is, let's be honest, unacceptable. And yes, they should have a wide variety of voices on the athletes council, on their board, all that type of stuff. And I think that it's going to make us better if everybody has a vantage point that maybe they haven't considered and can hear a voice and treat that voice with respect, which obviously would be the second part of it, right? It's one thing to have those people on the board because there might feel like some tokenism, right? We got to get away from the tokenism. It's got to be a voice that's respected and heard and valued. That'll be the second step, I think, in this whole process. And hopefully we can get there pretty quick once that first step is in place. Now, I want to give a shout out to Ugo and Shane, who said that, Ugo in particular said this whole thing is giving me hella good vibes, man. He needed this interview, so he says we're heroes in many ways for real. I don't know if I can take the hero thing, but I definitely Amir can for sure. So really quick, why I want to also add why you're a hero, and I'm going to click over to this, is you've started something called the Open Goal Project in D.C., and it's doing a lot of things for some underprivileged kids in underserved areas. Can you talk a little bit more about that project and what it means to you, since you're one of the co-founders?
For sure. It ties well into everything that we've been discussing. I moved back to DC after my last season professionally with NCFC, the Railhawks as they were known then. And I noticed, systemic inequalities in the soccer landscape in DC and the DC area. And then as I start to look more broadly, it was, it's everywhere, as now it's been documented. But I felt compelled after coming home and starting to coach and starting my journey with my career after soccer. I felt compelled that I needed to address that issue and meet that challenge head on. I wasn't sure what the scope of it would be initially. It started with several kids that were in our community and that we had, a proximity to, and we felt like we could make a real impact in their lives. And then as we've continued to build out, just the demand has been more and more evident, and the need for programs that aren't pay to play, that promote access and opportunity, regardless of race, regardless of socioeconomic status, regardless of where you live. Um, those those initiatives became super powerful to me, and almost part of how I wanted to affect the soccer landscape, in the U.S. soccer landscape specifically. I was fortunate, I think a lot of us were, to have parents who could navigate the system, drive reasonable distances, pay certain fees, and it got me to a certain level. I didn't have a wealthy upbringing by any means, but my parents had enough and supported me wholeheartedly to make sure that I got to pursue my dream. So so providing that for kids that don't have it, and understanding that that's a key piece of what the U.S. soccer landscape is missing, have been the big ideas behind it. And then the theory, that the backdrop of Open Goal Project, is that within U.S. soccer, we're not getting the best kids on the field. And that's my personal theory, is that we can't have a conversation about development and how to develop the best players until you actually have gotten the best kids on the field, right? And I think that we need to continue engaging all communities and across the board, top to bottom, and then that's going to produce our best talent, our best teams, and give everybody a fair shot at playing.
No, you just put out a quote. You just put out a quote the other day saying, "Even the fields change the game," and I think that speaks to that. That's a great quote. I'm going to steal that if you don't mind. Now, my big question, and I get this a lot because I feel very similar to you about pay to play and leveling the field and giving kids opportunities that wouldn't get them otherwise. That's why I've started working with the San Francisco Glens, the USL League Two team, and of course they have an academy. We've never turned down one kid from wanting to play for our club. We find scholarship money or whatever it is to make sure that every kid has an opportunity to play. I feel like we're unique that way because we have a board that's very open to that methodology and philosophy. However, I feel like when the pay-to-play thing is thrown out there, it still doesn't address the fact that coaches are people too, and they've got families to feed, so somebody needs to pay them, and then you have to pay probably for the fields and the equipment. Like how do we? Who pays for that? I always think, okay, like it's a great ideal, but there's still some practicality that needs to seep in there, and I think once we can find that balance, we're going to be cooking with gas. Right now, though, unfortunately, youth soccer in particular is a $1 billion industry. So I feel like the impetus to change isn't there, right? And I feel like it's going to be a glacial turn. It's going to take forever, to really get it where we want, unless we can say, hey, this is the model that will work. This is how it's going to be addressed, and that way more players can get those opportunities. I'm kind of curious as to how you think we can solve that.
Yeah, so it's a great point, and I would argue that, well, we do need some fundamental changes, right, within the system, to accommodate a shift like that. It can't just be, you can't just wipe the slate clean and start fresh with something else, because, like you said, people need to feed their families, and I myself have earned coaching salaries, and that's been important to me as a primary source of my income. So I understand that. I think there is a lack of investment and it's up to people like yourself and myself to find these creative ways to find fun.
Now you're putting a lot of pressure on me, Amir. I didn't want that pressure. I didn't ask for this pressure.
We're in a place to find those creative ways, and people and businesses who can fund those communities and players who need to be challenged further, and who need to be pushed to the forefront in U.S. soccer. And I would argue it's an investment, right? I think that whole conversation around MLS Development Academy and how much money they spend, and fees across the board. It comes down to what that end product is, right? If there was players coming out of the end product that made the whole system,
That's true.
The balance sheet add up, then there wouldn't be so much of a complaint from them. But you do need investment, and then I'd argue again, getting that investment to the right communities, the right kids, and then hopefully you can start to generate some of those returns. But that would be the natural cycle to make it all fit together. That's a big picture to paint. But that's how it works in world football.
Right.
And then I think locally and on the ground where we are, we can find creative ways to do it. It's about building relationships and really, bringing the community element back into some of what we're doing. Youth soccer when I grew up was very, it was about local rivalries and, your friends, you played against them in school and, you played against them on other travel teams. And that was a cool thing in our DC community. I don't know. I think we all experienced that, players of our generation to a degree. And now it's just been stretched further out. But we can bring some of that back by starting to focus again locally. I think that's part of what we're saying is important to bringing these communities and these players in the conversation as well.
No, you make a good point about the MLS footing the bill in some ways, because I remember having a conversation with still manager of Sporting Kansas City, Peter Vermes, when I was still with the team, that he was having a tough time with the new ownership group about them investing in the youth because they didn't really see it yet, right? They knew that it was going to be a really expensive front end thing without really not knowing for sure if they're going to produce the players. Well, they ended up producing Eric Palmer Brown, who Juventus was calling about. They wanted to pay $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million for him, which would have funded the academy for 3 years, So, and then eventually that's where they got the buy-in. They're like, oh, this is how it works, right? But they needed to see that tangible evidence of it to make it happen. So fair play to Peter Vermes and that ownership group for sticking with it, and now they've got a pretty robust academy. Now, we played together. Everybody that's just joining in, I'm here with Amir Lowery. We were former teammates at Kansas City, and there are a couple points, and again, I appreciate your time for coming on. I got a couple more things for you. One incident that happens, and we just lost Amir. He just fell over. No, he's good. One thing that happened during your career in Kansas City, there was you had got told you were going to get signed by the team, and then you signed a lease. You thought you were good with an apartment, and you thought you were going to live there, and then they told you actually we're gonna cut you. And then they wouldn't take care of you having to pay for the fee of the broken lease. Maybe that got sorted out later, but the fact that the initial thing was that you had to be then accountable for paying for the broken lease is unacceptable to me. And one of the things that I stood up for when I was on the executive committee for the Players Association, like this kind of crap cannot happen again. We cannot be considered a professional league if we don't treat everybody professionally, whether they're going to be the stars of the team or the people that are playing on your reserve team. Whatever it is, they need to be treated with the same respect. And I was very adamant about that, and I would share that example a lot. Hopefully you don't mind if I shared it right now.
Not at all.
Now you've transitioned, and you spend time being a player relations manager on the MLS Players Association, as it's now called. You've been through a few CBAs. And have seen the game evolve in a lot of different ways. Your career ended in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. And tell us about that part of it. Transitioning, getting involved, because it's clear that you're a person that wants to give back. You're trying to help people be better versions of themselves, which is why I assume you're running for office. So, how meaningful has it been for you to be a part of the Players Association?
Yeah, it's been massive. As far as helping me find my voice and just the work that I've been able to do to impact current players and impact the way that MLS looks, moving forward into the future, has been a good way to round it out, so to speak, and to still maintain contact with the game. And then I would add in, my first contract was $12,900
Unacceptable.
annually.
$12,000. Are people
And
listening in the chat? $12,000 for a year to play. Some
you
players make that. Beckham came over here and made that in like 2 minutes. But go ahead.
know,
Go ahead.
yeah, $800 a month. Um, you know, that with I accepted that contract with the Wake Forest business degree.
Yeah.
So I knew to a degree what I was walking into, but we took the grenades, so to speak, in a lot of ways for people that walked after us and walked in our shoes after us. And um, my experience with MLS was very much one of, you know, not understanding what the club's contractual obligations were to me, you know, um, frequently being caught by surprise and, cut or moved somewhere else, having to pick up and find the next thing. And obviously being severely underpaid, a non-livable wage. Those things were important in helping me decide that I wanted to do something to help players feel like it was getting better, feel like it was going in the right direction, and we still have a long way to go to finish that point. I think the the state of the league where it is today for players has certainly moved a long way since that $12,900, but it's got so far to go to keep up with what's happening in world football. And so part of my experience there and just being able to change that conversation in a positive way has been great. And just to add more color to it, I've been able to um, you know I've been able to, and I've been asked to build real trust within the international player pool. And I've engaged a lot of Central, South American, Latino, Spanish-speaking players and others, obviously, across the player pool, but primarily getting that subsections buy into bargaining. When we previously, I don't know how it was when you're involved in the PA, but that group of international players is consistently getting bigger and bigger. And as we were progressing as a PA, not having their involvement, not having that buy-in, was eventually, an issue. And me being able to bring some of that together with my colleagues, of course, not just by myself, has just been a great learning experience. It's like I said, allowed me to hone in on my voice and speak to a lot of people from a lot of different places and backgrounds.
Amir, I'm
So
going to say it. I think you're ready.
yeah,
You've put in the groundwork. You've lived a life, maybe many lives, and in different ways to be able to speak in a way that I think will really help benefit people. So we're all going to vote for you now. You better, everybody in the chat, if you don't. Now, before we get to this last thing that we're going to play called Loan, Sign, and Sell, I want to let everybody know that you're an Arsenal fan, and I assume you're suffering. Another element of suffering. Arsenal have not won the Premier League since 2004. That was the Invincibles, which obviously they
yeah,
can still hold on to because Liverpool
yeah.
finally got beaten this season by Watford. How does supporting Arsenal influence your politics and all? And in some ways, I feel like you could maybe save the U.S. government before you can figure out how to solve Arsenal's problems. Yeah, tell us a little bit about supporting Arsenal.
It started with those. I was primarily a six, and I played some center back, right? So Vieira was just a massive figure on that team, and he was a real just I idolized him in a lot of ways. I think as a younger player, watching France win a World Cup, and the Euro, and just all that. So a lot of that maybe translated in my youth to Arsenal, and the way they played, it just made sense. And so I could never, for my own pride, move off of or move away from being an Arsenal fan And you'd know this if you have like close friends who are Chelsea and Man U and, you know, mainly those two clubs. But I haven't been able to maintain my dignity with my closest friends and move away from that. So I hold them accountable as much as I can. But you know, generally we're the butt of many jokes, Arsenal fans. And I'm okay with that. I'll keep leaning on those the Invincibles.
No, we got some Arsenal fans in the chat, including Monty, who said, I like this conversation until Jimmy started bashing Arsenal. Mike K says Arsenal are tight. I guess it depends on how you define tight, Mike. And then Ugo says bad vibes now from Jimmy. That's not true. I'm not bad vibing. I'm just speaking the truth. Listen, I support Newcastle. Everybody knows that we suck, okay? If you want me to just say it and own it, we suck. All right, Amir, we're going to play a loan, sign, sell, okay? I'm going to give you 3 players, and you're going to tell me who you'd want to loan, who you'd want to sign, and who you want to just sell because you can't deal with them anymore. We got a really quick intro. It's going to be like 5 seconds, so just bear with us as we do this. All right, there it is. Loan, sign, sell. Okay, Amir. Here are your 3 options.
All right.
And I feel like we should throw Vieira in there now that we know he's your favorite player. But that would be an easy sign for you. So we're not gonna have Vieira in. You got Nicholas Bentner. Okay. Mustafi, who I'm sure you're well aware of what he's not capable of. Sorry, Mustafi, if you're watching. And then you got Gervinho, who is great in Italy, but maybe didn't do as much for the Arsenal. So you got Bentner, Mustafi, and Gervinho. Loan, sign, sell. We'll see. Anybody in the chat want to jump in there? What would you guys do as well? Well, Amir's thinking. I don't know. It depends. I kind of wonder how these guys are in the locker room because that might make a difference in terms of just good chemistry in the locker room. But you got Bentner, Mustafi, and Gervinho. Loan, sign, sell. Go ahead, Amir.
This is tough. But
that's why we do it.
Yeah, it's well played with these 3. I gotta admit, this is a good one. Given that my real allegiance is with Arsenal, you know, harken to the old days, I gotta sell Mustafi.
Okay. There's a guy in the comments, Kite Man says Mustafi as well.
Yeah.
So you got to sell him. Yeah, no question. I think everybody will probably agree with you on selling Mustafi.
Yeah. You know, and this is tough.
You got another one. Atlanta United Fan TV says sell Mustafi as well. So you're in good company there. And now you got to loan and sign. You got to sign either Gervinho or Bentner, or then loan the other one. So who do you want to loan out?
Just for the sake, nothing other than the cult nature of Lord Bentner. I have to sign him.
Signing Bentner, wow!
I gotta sign Lord
for the
Bentner.
Jokes. I like it.
And just keep him around for. He's at least gonna produce some comical moments for us, you know.
Yeah.
Gervinho, would be the loan. I don't have negative or positive necessarily memories of him with Arsenal. You know, he's kind of just a lukewarm one. I think he was a tremendous footballer. I think he was amazing for Ivory Coast, if I do remember. But yeah, definitely better in Serie A as well.
All right, there you got it. So Amir is going to sign Nicholas Bentner. He's going to sell Mustafi, and he's going to loan out Gervinho, which is what I think happened anyway. And they eventually sold him to some teams in Italy. I think it started with Roma. Well, Amir, thank you so much for your time. This has been amazing. We wish you the best of luck. We have to vote. Is there like a specific district that we all have to move to so that we can vote for
man.
you? We got to move to DC.
DC.
Yeah, we're going to be pushing for you. You have the full backing from me and for everybody else, I think, that I speak for in the chat. And we wish you the best of luck, man. This is really inspiring, and I'm really excited for you and proud for what you're trying to accomplish.
Thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate the platform. I appreciate catching up with you always.
You come back on later and tell us how it's going?
You know it.
All right, great. Oh, great. Amir Lowery, everybody. All right, Amir, we'll talk to you very soon. All right, we're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we're going to get into our first ever debate in the Power Hour, so do not go anywhere. Should be a lot of fun. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. I see some orange slices there in the chat. Hope you guys enjoyed halftime. We have a big debate coming up. The first one we've ever done. It's onside versus offside. We're going to take your guys' topics and we're going to dissect them. We have 30 seconds. Now, I just want to say from the outset, I want to preface this by letting everybody know that we have a timer, but Streamlabs that I use, like, it's for me to reset it at 30 is kind of a pain in the ass, I'll be honest with you. So we have 30 seconds to break down each topic, but we're going to need a little bit in between. Yeah, that's just me saying deal with it. That's what I'm saying is deal with it. All right, so our first thing is, well, you know what? Let's just roll this. I think you guys will understand after you see it. Oh, and there he is. I got to get him all sorted out. I thought it was going to work because it worked beautifully, beautifully for Amir. Oh, I got it locked. It's my
Unlock
favorite part.
me.
I'm trying to unlock you. We got John Hudson, everybody. We got you all framed up, John. Look at you.
How's it going?
Are you ready for this? Onside versus offside.
Hair up. It's an honor, Jimmy, to be on your show or, working with you for the first time. There's been a lot of guys who looked like me, but this is the first time I'm actually on the show with you.
It's funny. You kind of look like Phil Jones from two weeks ago, a week ago.
No, I don't. That guy's an uggo.
No.
No.
Stat Geek?
No. I get this all the time, and that stat freak has tarnished my image and reputation for years. I hate him. If I see him, I'm gonna beat the crap out of him.
Okay, how about Brad Pitt? I assume you get that a lot.
Oh yeah, all the time actually, all the time. Yeah, it's crazy.
All right. So let's get to the first topic, and just to kick this off, we set this one up ourselves, okay? Because it's something that's going on around, and I'm sure you guys saw it. I'm gonna pop it up right here. It's the first topic that we're gonna get into. Then we'll get into everybody else's, and that's not right. Here it is.
Pop it up.
It's from Atletico Madrid's president Enrique Cerezo. Hopefully I said that right. He said, in the hypothetical case the Champions League was not played due to the coronavirus, then the champion should be the one who beat the champion, which means his club because they beat Liverpool. Okay, that is the topic. Which which side do you want to take?
What side am I going to take? Well, Jimmy, I'm not a lawyer, but I do know the first rule of being a lawyer, which is to make stuff up confidently. So I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give this one to you. You take the side you want. I'll take the other side, and I will BS my way through it.
Okay. You ever like touch your face and then you find you have a pimple and you're like, oh my God, what? I just realized I have a pimple, and that's what I just did.
Yeah, it's kind of like
a sidebar.
Yeah, you eat it. You pick it.
Okay. So I'm gonna go with this is ridiculous. I'm gonna go with this is a ridiculous statement. So I'm gonna say he's offside for making this. I think that's how it works. And you're gonna be onside. You think you're gonna agree with him?
I'm gonna say he's onside. I'm gonna be a lino. I'm gonna go.
Okay. and then the audience, you guys, everybody in the chat, you need to decide. If what side do you go with? I think I got this one. This is a cakewalk. I got 30 seconds. Hold on, let me just make sure this timer's working, and then we can go from there. Okay, where did the timer go? I don't even know. Hold on, here it is.
Are you going first?
I got it. Here it comes. Okay, 30 seconds. What do I even need to say? Look at 25 seconds. This is obviously, you can't just hand Atleti the Champions League trophy because they beat Liverpool earlier in the knockout rounds. It doesn't make any sense. You have to play those games. You have to play in a big Champions League final, which they've lost. They lost to Real Madrid before. They haven't won the big enchilada before, so they have to prove it. You can't just use this loose argument to make that happen, all right? I think that's you guys know it to be true. That was it, 30 seconds.
All right.
I wasn't even really happy with that, I'll be honest. Okay, all right, hold on. The timer started again. Hold on. No, don't go yet. I got to reset the timer. You ready? You ready? And go.
Well, now I may just be some small town pretend lawyer, but isn't the point of football that every game matters, that every single game you play could be life or death, the last one? I say this is a perfect plan. Soccer is like Mad Max now. You win or you go home. Last man standing. If you lose a game, your club is disbanded. No more. Sell all the players. The fans can pick another team. That way, every day there's new clubs popping up.
Oh, come on, done. You're done. You're done. You're done. I also meant to add, I wish we could have some extra time here. I wish that we could add that Watford should then be the champion since they beat Liverpool. Actually, Liverpool haven't been named the champions yet, but they should get something. I know that Watford tweeted something out saying, I guess we're the champions.
They should. I've been saying this for years. We need more champions whose mascots are both a hornet and a moose. I've been saying.
All right, Mike K says it's never worked that way, so why should it work that way now? Clearly, he's on my team on that. Sorry about that, Hudson.
Need revolutionary thinking to make change in the game. Before offside, onside even happened, they didn't have it, and now they do, and now we hate it because of VAR.
All right, here's another one. Atlanta United Fan TV says because they should win the Prem by that argument. So that'd be cool, right? If Atletico Madrid just came over and was like, we're not only we're the Champions League winners, we're also the Premier League winners.
The Spanish Armada swoops into England. Everyone's eating paella now. Let's do it. And that you finally prove Alexi Lawless's point if an MLS team is better than Premier League.
Whoa. So there's a big thing from Wags. I know, Wags, it took us 40 minutes to get to this, but if we can talk about it really quick without any onside offside here, because I think we're on the same page. If an MLS team joined the Premier League, they would do just fine. I mean, I don't understand maybe the frame of reference, because if they're saying we're going to pick up a current MLS team and drop them into the Premier League, how would they do? But it's apples and oranges because of the money spent on players. Like, it doesn't. There are rarely any teams that aren't spending $1 gajillion on players. Even the Huddersfields or, the Cardiffs or whatever, they're still investing a lot of money into players, and a lot more than what MLS teams are. So it doesn't really seem like a fair argument.
Could an MLS team drop £40 million on Joe Linton? No. That is the magic of the Premier League, baby.
Exactly. I know you're a Newcastle fan too, John, so I appreciate that. All right, here's the next debate topic. The signings of Timo Werner from Atlanta United Fan TV. He thinks the signings of Werner and possibly Kai Havertz won't put Chelsea into the top 3 territory. Which side do you want?
I'm taking the side that'll put them right. They're right in the top 2 with that one. I'm taking the top
2. So you're going
top territory, baby.
Okay, so I have to go the opposite. Okay, so Atlanta Fan United TV says if you take the signings of Timo Werner for RB Leipzig, and possibly Kai Havertz, who's killing it for Bayer Leverkusen. He says they won't put Chelsea into a top 3 territory. I have to agree with that, and you're saying the opposite. So you're saying offside.
I'm saying offside.
You're going first. You're
I'm
going
going
first.
All right,
Hold on. I'll give you the timer. Because it's just running on a loop, but I have to start it over. Okay, you ready? And go.
Now, I may just be some small town pretend internet soccer lawyer, but it's Chelsea, baby. They got the money. They're going to do what they do. And Frank Lampard, I know he couldn't figure out how to play in a midfield with Gerrard, but he can figure out how to get all these disparate players into the same thing. And it's not going to stop at Werner and Havertz. They're going to get more. It's Chelsea. It's Abramovich. It's happening. Leicester's falling off. Liverpool, they're going to burn out. You can't play Klopp style for 5 seasons.
Done.
No,
Done. Okay, I respect it. Now I have to say why I won't put Chelsea in the top 3 territory. Yaiza. Okay, all right. I'm thinking. I should have been thinking while you were talking, but I wasn't. Let me put the timer back on. And we can get after this.
Mistake.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so the reason why I won't put Chelsea in top 3 territory is because, yes, they're getting some attacking players, but they really need to shore up their defense. Their left back position, if they don't get Ben Chilwell, they've got a big issue there. Emerson, who I like, still maybe isn't world class. Marcus Alonso doesn't play any D. Antonio Rudiger, I've broken him down on Coach Jimmy before. He makes fundamental mistakes. Christian, they don't have another center back. I might as well have David Luiz come back from Arsenal. That's how bad they are in the back.
They should get him back.
And Cesar Azpilicueta, who I love, he's getting a little bit older. And then Kepa, can you rely on the guy? Can you? So I feel like that is going to be it. The 30 seconds started over again. I'm going to keep going. No, but that's kind of how I would. That's why I think they wouldn't do it. That's it.
Jimmy, you can rely on Kepa more than anyone. You can rely on him even when you don't want to rely on him. He's going to stay in the game. And that's the Chelsea DNA. Doing things that other people don't want you to do. That's Chelsea, baby.
Okay, so who's winning? Who won that? Can people in the chat let us know who you thought just won that? Is it me or Hudson?
Come on.
I forgot to wear my blazer, by the way. I wanted to be a little boy in blazers.
I'm the only man in blazer here. Look at that.
Yeah. Well, I think you're a little boy in blazer. That's what I think you
are.
are.
I think you're a mean guy.
Let's look at so Hudson gets a vote. Atlanta Fan United has to vote. You have to go with me because I'm agreeing with you. Somebody called me Dingo instead of Dino.
Dingo.
What's up, Callum? Napso says me. Hudson, defense is overrated. Wags.
All right, Conrad Dingo.
Conrad Dingo is my new nickname. That needs a new emote, by the way. Actually, we got to get some new emotes for the subs. And also, if you guys want to be, for all you subscribers that are already subscribed to the channel, or if you want to be one in the future, you could be John Hudson next and debate me on onside versus offside. I just want to throw that out there. We have a lot of perks for subscribers, but we're easing into that.
Anyone can do this.
There's no question. Anybody can do this.
I don't know what I'm doing here. Come
on.
on.
It seems like it's split. All right, let's move on to the next topic.
Jake with you.
This one comes from Shane Duck, who says, not a debate, but it kind of is a debate. Is Pep a fraud for not winning the Champions League without Messi?
Jimmy, I picked the first one, last one. Which one are you going to pick?
Fraud seems really strong, but I will say, but is Pep a fraud for not winning the Champions League without Messi? All right, I'll take the harder of the two. I'll say that he's a fraud. I'll say that he's fraud-like. I don't want to say he's clearly not a fraud. Okay,
sure.
So I'll go first on this.
All right.
I guess I'm agreeing, so I would be onside here, and let me get the timer set. It just goes and goes and goes. All right, here we go. So Pep is fraud-like because without doing it and winning the biggest trophy in Europe without Messi, it just seems like he couldn't accomplish those types of heights without that world-class player, one of the best players, probably the best player to ever live. He has been blessed with tons of talent, and he has so much money at his disposal to get the best teams in the world, and he does a very good job of getting everybody on the same page, but if he can't win the big enchilada without Messi, then I think he has to at least be considered. There's an asterisk next to him because he can't do the business without somebody of Messi's quality. Okay, I'm done.
Fair enough.
Okay.
All right, Jimmy, cue me, and I will go off king.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to cue you, and you're going to say that he's not a fraud, right? Okay, give me a sec, and go.
Now, I may just be some small-town pretend soccer lawyer who's wasting too much time on this intro, but you mentioned Lionel Messi, right? We can all agree here in this court that Lionel Messi is the best player of his generation. Has he ever won the World Cup? No, you don't need to win things to prove you're the best. You gotta know you're the best. And Pep Guardiola, yeah, he may be bald, but he's not a fraud. I yield my time.
I yield my time. Wow, John Hudson coming in hot. I love it. I love it. So everybody, we're calling you guys the video assistant referees in the chat. You guys are the VARs, even though I have one here.
Pardon me, baby.
Watching over my shoulder at all
Rewatch
times.
tape.
What do you guys think? Do you agree with me? Is Pep a fraud for not winning the Champions League without Messi, or do you agree with Hudson that he might be bald, but he's not a fraud because Messi hasn't won a World Cup? I'm still trying to figure out exactly the tie-in, but I like it. I like it.
If Pep managed Argentina, then maybe.
Maybe. Okay. All right. So that's good. Hopefully everybody's voting for Conrad Dingo. Wow, we're getting a split again. Chike says not a fraud. What's up, Chike? Hudson is onside. We're all offside. Is that it? Is that all of our topics? We got what? Wait, we have one more topic.
Been flagged offside.
Oh, here we go. This one's from Ugo. Okay, you ready? This is our last topic. Everybody. This one is Arsenal will win the league in the next 5 years.
Oh, baby.
You get to go first this time.
Oh, boy. Well, I've never been one to shy away from a challenge, so I'm going to say that he is onside and that Arsenal will
Okay, hold on. Let me set the timer, you bastard.
I'm taking that side of it.
You're saying Arsenal will win the league in 5 years. Okay, all right. Hold on. Let me get your timer set up. Let me get your timer set up. I also want to know what you're smoking afterwards. If you can just let everybody know what you're smoking. Go.
I mean, just because I'm a small-town pretend soccer lawyer, just wasting too much time on this intro bit, but the thing about Arsenal is that they've got Arsenal DNA, and that means losing for a long amount of time, but then ultimately winning. Now, in the next 5 years, we will be passing 2024, which is 10 years from when they last won the Premier League. 10 years is a magic number. You know Arsenal loves their number 10, and they're going to have a new one because Ozil's gone. He's old, and that new number 10 is going to lead them to glory in 2024.
Your timing's amazing, but I don't know about your argument. Okay, my turn. All right. I'm just getting the timer set up. Hold on a second. This is actually me. Okay, here we go. Arsenal's not going to win the league in the next 5 years because how and with who? I mean, anytime you put on the Arsenal shirt, it seems like you're getting worse in your career. You just can't live up to the expectations of not being as good as you thought you were. I don't know what it is, but I think we all know. And then they make signings that don't make any sense. Yeah. Mustafi? Why would you sign that guy? Like, I just don't understand. Kim Shellstrom? Like, that was your big move, Arsene Wenger, a while back. I know Arsene Wenger's still not in place, but that really sets the tone for the methodology of the type of quality you're trying to get in. I just don't see it happening. I like Mikel Arteta. I like his hair helmet and everything that he's got going. I'm taking an extra 30 seconds. But well, okay, all right, I'll stop. All right. Fine. I think everybody's going to agree with me because they know the truth. That's what's going to happen.
Look, as I was saying that stuff, I didn't even believe it.
You didn't believe it.
No. I mean, it's you could have just used the famous Alex Ferguson team talk of, lads, it's Arsenal. I rest my case.
All right, John Hudson, everybody. I think everybody, if I got this right, if I'm looking at the chat, mainly just at Board Martins, he says that Jimmy wins. That's all I need to know. I have an ego quota every day, Hudson, and I just fulfilled that. So I appreciate you coming on and making me feel good about myself.
Fair enough, Jimmy. You get it. I'm a Newcastle fan. I'm used to losing real bad. So I'll come back again next time to take another L.
All right. See you later, John Hudson, everybody.
Bye.
John Hudson is now gone. He's leaving. He's going to be frozen. Look at his face right there. All right, we're going to get back to some good news. Bad news, because a lot of stories for us to dive into, and there's some games that are kicking off, like Juve versus AC Milan in the Coppa Italia semifinals. But first, we got to roll a few clips.
Again, as Bruce alluded to before, I think Conrad Bocanegra is definitely a guy that has to be a major target on this play.
Number 4 for the United States. Lennon sends it in, the header, and it's into the back of the net. The United States strikes, and it's Jimmy Conrad. Jimmy Conrad finds the net. 1-0 USA. Jimmy Conrad, a late bloomer. He'll be 30 next Monday. A big goal in his career.
Well, I mean, you have such a game, a defensive game, the kind that he's had already tonight.
All right, everyone, let's get into some good news, bad news. First things first, though, the Juve AC Milan game in leg 1 of the Coppa Italia semifinals. Juve is 0-0. Juve 0. AC Milan 0. Yeah, I can't speak English, but the big news is that Ante Rebic, he got a red card in the 16th minute, so Milan is down to 10 players. That's not a good sign. They probably weren't good enough to compete with Juve anyway, and it's going to be a lot harder being down a man. Okay? Just wanted to throw that out there. All right, the biggest and greatest news for me this weekend is that La Liga is back. I've worked with La Liga all season, and I'm very excited to see this league come back. Barcelona is on top with 58 points. Real Madrid has 56 points. I have here that Sevilla has 50, though they had a big win yesterday against Real Betis. And Lucas Ocampos, their new signing from this past summer, he had a goal and a cheeky back heel assist, so congrats to him. And to Sevilla for hanging in there. If they get top 3, that would be pretty impressive. Obviously, just trying to get in the Champions League at that point. This is always a 2-horse race. But very excited to have La Liga back. And then on the bottom half of the table, I don't know if you guys know this or not, or at least the relegation zone, you got Eibar with 27 points. You have Celta Vigo with 26. Mallorca, where I went and got to see their opening game and got to hang out with some of the players. Very cool experience. They're in 18th place with 25. Leganés has 23, and then Espanyol is struggling. They got 20. Then Neil, he got a comment from Neil saying, what are my thoughts on Martin Braithwaite? I would say that I like his game a lot. I know that Barcelona was handcuffed in some ways with not being able, or maybe not moving in on a player, or that player not wanting to come to Barcelona, whatever it was. Didn't work out, so they somewhat settled for Braithwaite. But I like his game. I think he makes them more dynamic, especially coming off the bench. You know, he clearly is very similar to Ighalo at Manchester United. Thrilled to be playing for that club, right? But unfortunately, he can't juggle when he gets introduced at his unveiling, as it were. I'd be nervous too, though, right? We went through this last week. That was a lot of fun to get into, but I understand. I would be nervous too. So that is what I think about Braithwaite, though. I think I got to see him play in El Clasico. Both Monty and Monty's in the comments. He's producing this show. We got to see him play, and I thought he made a difference. He made a discernible difference when he came on, and I think it helps sometimes. If you're going to make a big signing and you get somebody, especially in the January transfer window, if they're staying in the same league, I think that helps a lot because they've already played against Real Madrid. They've already played against Atletico Madrid. They've already played against the big clubs and probably don't have that fear or that nervousness that might come if you made a jump to another league. Like, say, Braithwaite went over to Italy and then all of a sudden he's playing against Juve. That would be something different, I think. But because he's familiar with all the teams, I don't think the transition shouldn't be as tough. Plus, let's be honest, you play on Barcelona, like, yeah, there's this Messi guy, number 10, just give him the ball and then kind of get out of his way, and maybe he'll pass it over to you for a tap-in at some point. Not to say that Luis Suarez doesn't score some great goals. I'm just saying that I think Braithwaite could take advantage and hopefully pad his stats with some extra assists and goals. That being said, I think he's a nice addition to the team, and he gives them different options, gives them a different look. Now, we could go back and say they shouldn't have gotten rid of Neymar in the first place, but let's get into that first game. Or maybe Neymar shouldn't have left. We're going to get into one of the games from the weekend, Mallorca versus Barcelona. This is a big one. Barcelona's going to fly over to the little island. I was there for the first game of the season when Mallorca took on Alaves, and they won 2-1. It was really exciting to see them get that win, their first time back in the top division in many years, and that was super cool. And I still talk to the president and Ante Budimir, who scored a bunch of goals, and Lago Jr., who scored the game winner against Real Madrid. So Mallorca's very good at home, not so good away from home. And I will say that Budimir scored 2 goals at the Camp Nou when they played against Barcelona away from home, and that was 6-2, but they still put 2 past him, right? So there's still a possibility, and they can maybe gain some confidence from that. What I'll say, though, about this game in particular is that Messi's coming back, right? We didn't know if he was going to play this first game. He's back, and I really feel like Barcelona really rides or dies with how well he's performing and how much space or attention that he takes from other guys, and so, or from the opponents, and how that opens up space for his teammates. Since he's playing, yeah, I don't like Mallorca's chances. I think Barcelona, along with a lot of the big clubs in all the leagues, their top players could benefit from this rest. Sure, Harry Kane in particular maybe came back a couple extra pounds heavier, and I'm sure Eden Hazard, who's got a reputation of doing that, right? Maybe he put on a couple LBs, but they also get to rest mentally and physically, and I think that will prove to be very important for them as the season goes on. And as they finish this one and then roll right into the next season. So it'll be interesting to see how they perform in particular. This might be a great time. I don't know. I could ask you guys. Do you think this is a great time to play at Barcelona where they may be a little bit rusty? Or do you think it's a bad time because they're going to be fresh? I don't know. But yeah, as I mentioned before, Mallorca beat Real Madrid. It was 1-0. It was a good performance by Mallorca. And Real Madrid actually, that's where they started to take off. After that performance, I really feel like they maybe had a players meeting or a team-only meeting and just said, listen, we got to pick up our games. And they really took off and started to pressure Barcelona at the top of the table. I remember that being their one little down of the season. So we'll see. We'll see which team shows up, but that's definitely one. Napso says Mallorca to lose 4-0. I'm calling it. We'll see. I don't know. I have a soft spot for Mallorca. I almost wore my Mallorca jersey, but I went for the old classic Barcelona instead because I agree with you, Napso. I think they're going to win. I just don't know by how much. All right, now let's get into the next game that I want to talk about. We're going to go through two here in La Liga. It is Atletico Madrid versus Athletic Bilbao. Now, this game is in Bilbao and the San Mames. What I'll say about this game in particular is that Athletic haven't been good at home. Usually it's been their fortress. They've only won 1 out of their last 5 there. That's going to prove to be difficult. Now, I love Iñaki Williams. I think he's an excellent player and has done bits for Athletic for many years. But it's been a difficult season. And then now Aduriz, the guy that scored that bicycle in the first week against Barcelona, that game winner, such a good goal. He just retired during this pandemic, so that's a big loss for them because I think he was a leader even if he wasn't playing. So, we lose that type of stuff. But we'll see if somebody steps up and fills the void. I'm sure somebody will, but sometimes that takes a little bit of time. Atleti, on the other hand, no Joao Felix. He got a yellow card in the last game before this, so he's suspended. He won't be available. Diego Costa should be running the lines. Yannick Carrasco should be coming in, though, and starting. Coming back from China and starting to get some meaningful minutes for his old club, so we'll see how he fits in and how well but for me, this one in particular, I don't know if I can make a prediction on this. I just don't know which Atleti team's going to show up. The ones that maybe play to the level of their competition. But I guess that works both ways, right? Or the ones that play against Liverpool and just have that enthusiasm and excitement. Now, as I said before, they're not in the top 4. You got Real Sociedad on 46, Getafe on 46. Atleti's got 45. So they're 1 point off the top 4. They're 5 behind Sevilla with a game in hand. They have some work to do, so I feel like they're going to have it, and Diego Simeone, as manager, who's an absolute beast, will probably figure out a way to motivate his troops, but they're definitely not going to catch Barca or Madrid. It's a 2-horse race at this point. I should also add with Mallorca, they're in the relegation zone, so they need all the points they can get. I feel like that hunger, hopefully, will keep them up. I'd really like to see them stay up, so that's what I'd say. Getafe just lost. Well, it sucks to be them, right? So, yeah. So those are the two on that. That's the good news. La Liga is back. Now let's go to, I'd say it's kind of a good news, bad news. And I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but this is the 10-year anniversary. What happened here? Oh, yeah, sorry. This is the 10-year anniversary of the World Cup being held in South Africa. There was a big deal, and not only on top of that, this is the day that USA played England, and that's where Robert Green saved it from Clint Dempsey and then pushed it into the net so that we tied 1-1. Very famous result for us, right? Because I think there's a big joke that the USA wins 1-1 against England, which is really funny. But that helped us go on and win the group. It's the first time we've ever won a group in World Cup history and in our history. So that's a pretty big deal. And then we went on to lose to Ghana in the round of 16 because Ghana always beats us in meaningful competitions. So we got them back in the 2014 World Cup in the group stages, and they didn't advance. So I guess we're kind of winning there. Well, I don't know if we're winning because they beat us twice, and then we beat them once, and that's 2-1 if you guys are doing the math at home. Anyway, Ghana we kind of exercised those demons because they had our number for a while. But yeah, this was a very special tournament for us. This is where Landon Donovan scored that famous goal against Algeria in injury time, which sent us into the knockout rounds and obviously to win the group. So a pretty big deal in so many different ways. Now, one of the players, I call them players, that we have on our team right now as we build the Power Hour gang, is Chike Nwoye, and he's from Nigeria. So I really spoke to him and got some insight from him about whether this World Cup actually made a tangible difference to the lives of Africans and in particular South Africans. Now, it was interesting what he said. I'm going to get at my notes on this really quick, and we're going to have him on as a correspondent here pretty soon. Now, I think you guys will like this picture once I can get it right where I want. So Sepp Blatter and money, right? We're talking about FIFA. Now, one of the alleged reasons why Sepp Blatter wanted a World Cup on African soil was because the continent had always been kind to him with votes every time he was up for re-election, which I think is by him awarding this, it pretty much rewarded their loyalty. So I don't know. You guys can take it for what it is with regard to that. But not only that, FIFA's big messaging, no matter where they place the World Cup, is to help continue to grow the game, which is why Qatar has it in 2022 and trying to put it in locations that help do that. I don't know, right? So some of the cons. So I asked Chike for some pros and cons, and he said the cons, we should call them Conrads, is that $2.4 billion were spent on stadiums, transportation, new infrastructure to host a World Cup, which Brazil went through this too in 2014. And the common assumption was that this would be a good thing. I think we all feel the same way. The problem is that these new stadiums were built in cities that didn't need them, or built in cities that already had a pre-existing stadium when all they had to do was upgrade those, but instead they built brand new ones. Now, a lot of these stadiums, and this goes for Brazil too, aren't being used at all. And then when they had the 2013 Africa Cup of Nations in South Africa and they took it away from Libya, everybody was stunned. And I remember this as well, with how much of the quality of the stadiums had dropped off because nobody was taking care of them anymore. So you have to wonder, yeah, it looks good on paper and definitely looks good media-wise, but if there isn't a plan for post-World Cups, to have events, to hold an Olympics or whatever it may be, and I know that Brazil did that too, but still there was a big outcry on that. And there is like a little burst of work that these people of these countries get, but then it goes away, and then what? How do you continue to maintain that? Because it takes a lot of money to keep these going and all that. Now, from a quality on the field side, he actually made back in 2002 when Asia hosted it, Korea and Japan. So Korea and Japan co-hosted the World Cup in 2002. The result was instant. Korea made it as far as the semifinals of that World Cup, while Japan didn't do too bad. But Japan, and especially the women's side, they ended up winning the World Cup. And then Japan has won the Asian Cup twice, while South Korea's finished runners-up once to go with 2 third-place finishes. The 2022 World Cup, Qatar won the Asian Cup just last year, so they're well ahead of it in terms of the development of having a World Cup in the future. I can't believe the World Cup in 2022 is coming in 2 years. However, in comparison for South Africa, they were the first nation not to make it out of the group stage of a World Cup, and they haven't qualified for a World Cup since then. In fact, they've missed out on 2 Africa Cup of Nations editions as well. So you have to wonder, even though they got that boost from hosting the World Cup, and even on the club level, I think it's actually done quite well, even though they're trying to sell their players for an exorbitant amount of money, which European teams don't want to buy anymore, which is a different conversation. It hasn't really helped them on a national team level. So take that into your, stuff that into your pipe and smoke it is what I wanted to say. I will say, though, here's some of the pros. Surprisingly, the level in South African club football, which I just said has improved. Tourism, the country South Africa has become an even bigger tourist attraction after the World Cup. Reportedly, the awareness of the country as a leisure destination increased by 9%. And then there's an economy boost. This was such a good thing for South Africa because the world was slowly recovering from the 2009 global recession. So they had a head start in the recovery after all the attention they got from 2010. So there's some good things there, and I appreciate Chike for giving me all that. Callum says that the greatest ever World Cup goal was scored in that tournament. That ball was flying, by the way. What was it called? The Jabulani? I remember playing with that ball, and it did move. And I remember goalkeepers bitching about it because they didn't like it so much. But yeah, Callum, there's a lot of great goals. I remember Philip Lahm scoring the first one in the World Cup I played in 2006. Wasn't as good as Shabalala. How do you say that? Shabalala? But it was still pretty good. It was a nice way to kind of set the tone for the tournament. I remember that quite vividly, as they say. All right, now let's get into some other good news. We're just going to go good news right now. I mean, Shabalala. Now we're going to get into Ligue 1. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but Amiens and Toulouse will not, I repeat, will not be getting relegated according to the highest court in France. Now, this is big news because Toulouse sucks. They probably walked in there going, we have nothing to lose. Now, can we get a sound effect for bad joke? Can we have a sound effect for bad jokes, please? So they now have nothing to lose because they're not getting relegated despite being the worst team. They've won 3 games, I think, out of 27. They've given up more goals than anybody else. And then Amiens, who weren't that much better, are also getting the reprieve of not having to go down. Do you guys think that's fair? That's the big question. Do you think that's fair? I think it's great news for them, obviously. Maybe not such good news for the teams in the second division that we're hoping to get promoted. So that's a big decision by the court, and I kind of am very curious as to what you guys think. Sad trombone, I really need that. I really need that. So that's good news for them. I'm pretty excited to see how they're going to do with that. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if you guys think that's a good thing. Heyo! Troy knows. I got to bring the heyo back. And then finally, actually, I'm going to switch this. It is Dele Alli. Did you guys see what happened to him getting suspended for a game against Manchester United for a Snapchat video that he made with regard to, well, you know what? I'm going to show you the video here in a second once I switch the old sticker at the top. Because I want you guys, because we worked so hard to make this stuff. Mike K in particular, and it looks good. But yeah, so Dele Alli in trouble. And I did a soccer minute on it. And I want your guys' thoughts. Also, don't make fun of my hair. Okay, as you see at the beginning, I was going for the whole Bill Murray and Kingpin look. Okay, it was a rough day yesterday. I didn't even shave. Today I shaved and looking prettier for you guys. Had a special guest with Amir Lowery. Thank you to him again for coming on. And I can't believe he's running for Congress. That is next level, but awesome at the same time. Anyway, watch this soccer minute and then let me know your thoughts so we can talk about it some more.
This just in, Dele Alli hates his manager, Jose Mourinho. I'm just kidding, he doesn't. But that's just how you're supposed to get people to watch stuff these days, right? Just yell a bunch of shit that isn't true to get people to share it, which then leads to them actually believing it's real because people are dumb. Well, not you, of course. I'm talking about other people, which would then most likely force Dele Alli to have to explain why he doesn't hate his manager when the press comes asking if this rumor is true or not. Or, and this is true actually, how Dele Alli now has to explain why he isn't a racist after he made a Snapchat video back in February that zoomed in on an Asian man while making a joke about who was spreading the coronavirus, which obviously is unacceptable because it continues to perpetuate racial stereotypes. Now, Dele has apologized multiple times, but similar to Manchester City's Bernardo Silva after he tweeted something racially unsavory to teammate Benjamin Mendy, and fair play to the FA for being consistent in their punishment for this type of behavior. Dele will serve a one-match ban against the last club that fired Jose Mourinho, Manchester United, which is the game that you know Mourinho wants to win with all of his heart to prove all the haters in Ed Woodward wrong, which is why I made my initial statement of Dele hating his manager, because without him in Spurs' starting 11, it'll make it harder for Mourinho and his team to do so. Anyway, moral of the story, don't be an idiot. Ask more of yourself and of others so that these racial stereotypes don't get passed on as no big deal, it's just a joke to the next generation. It's not a joke. Be better.
Hey, what'd you think? Did I come in hot? I think I did a little bit. I try to bring the heat in the soccer minute, you know, as I do. But yeah, that's the last one. Let's see some comments here. Shane says all these guys just need a 24/7 PR person. I feel like he had a 24/7 PR person. I will say, Shane, that was a Snapchat thing from what I understand. He only sent it to who he thought were his friends that then got sent over to, I don't know, another messaging thing. His friend saved it and then sold it to a publication, you know, and that was one of his things. I don't know. We just have to do a better job of policing ourselves, of not allowing that behavior to exist. Somebody should have said something to him or whatever it was. And obviously he seems very contrite and has apologized multiple times. So I think he gets it. And it's just it's important for players like him in particular to be good role models and to really think through and be thoughtful about what they post, as what you say, Shane. Thank you, Master. I don't know how to say that. I'm just going to call you Master. Was quite a good minute. So anyway, he did get ratted out. I guess you're right. He did get ratted out, and so somebody did hold him accountable. You just wish they kind of, well, I guess that's the best way to do it, just to rat him out. I actually think that his buddy probably sold it and got a lot of money. If there wasn't any money involved and they just gave it to the publication, then maybe that was their way of holding him responsible. But anyway, interesting piece, and I appreciate you guys' insight as always. All right, now let's get to a new game we're going to play. Okay, it's called Stump Jimmy. And we are going to, let me see, I'm going to bring in a guest now. I think you guys know him. It's Corey with a K. Let's see how Corey's doing. Oh, hey, wait, there he is. I got to change. That's not who it is. Wait, we got to change that. Corey with a K.
It's not me.
There it is. There
It's
you
me?
are. Hey,
Yeah.
Corey with the K, how are you, man? How are you?
I'm big chillin', baby. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm living the dream. I'm glad we're doing this. Stump Jimmy. So this is obviously you're bringing something for me where you don't think I'm going to be able to answer what you have. I'm kind of curious what type of trivia that you're going to, I don't know, bring to my attention.
I got the heat. I got the heat.
Okay.
I'm not. I got the heat. That's all I got to say, and I'm ready to bring it, as they say.
All right. Hold on. Let me. I'm just combing my
I'm
hair
making
a little
the heat
bit.
right now. I'm making it.
Okay. The heat.
right now.
The heat is being made. All right. Stump Jimmy. Here we go.
So here we go. This one we're gonna start it off kind of easy, I guess we would say. Real Madrid, they've won a bunch of Champions Leagues, but remember that time, like a few years ago, they won 3 in a row in 3 seasons?
Yeah, I remember.
Okay, so that was 2015 to 16 season and 2017-18 season. So they won 3 Champions League titles in those 3 seasons.
Right.
Where were those finals played?
Oh, come on. Oh my God. One was
Somewhere.
Kiev.
Okay. Yeah, we don't have to go in order. That's one.
That's the last one. I'm going last one first. It wasn't Istanbul.
No.
I want to say one was in that might have been the
If you can see my soccer ball in the background, you'll be able to know one of them because it says the name on it.
One was in one was in Wales, Cardiff.
Yeah, you got good eyes. You can see my ball. That's crazy.
See, well, I remember Gareth Bale getting to play, back in front of his home, and he won it.
Yeah.
So there's one more. I think that was the first one. No.
That was the second one.
Okay, so it's the first one I'm looking for now.
The first one, I'll give you a hint. It's in Europe.
Sad, dude. Sad.
It's a major city. It's very fashionable. I think I just might have given too much away to you right now.
Milan. I'm gonna say Milan.
Shoot.
Yes.
Okay.
You can't stump me. You can't stump this
but
guy.
nah,
I got
listen.
it. I got it.
Let's.
Cardiff, Milan, Kiev.
Sure. I think I might have shot myself in the foot there by giving you too big of a hint. So I want to redeem myself. I'll give you one more.
All right.
That is a little bit more difficult.
Okay. All right.
Just a little bit. Who is PSV Eindhoven's all-time leading goal scorer?
DeMarcus Beasley. No.
No.
Wait, no. Sorry, it was a joke because he was a previous guest from before. PSV Eindhoven's
He's a
leading
guy.
goal scorer.
He's a guy who plays the game.
Conrad Bocanegra.
No, but that guy is a good dude. He's a good dude.
So I see some R9 Ronaldos. No, Zlatan played for Ajax. Don't do that to me. People are trying to throw me off.
I don't know if you're gonna get this one. He's got. Oh, I don't want to give hints away quite yet.
He's a player that I know, that I've heard of.
Yeah, I mean, you know everything. Like it's
true. Mark
allegedly
Van Bommel?
impossible to stump you. No, didn't Mark Van Bommel? Isn't he like a defensive midfielder?
No, he is.
Okay, here's a hint. He was the Eredivisie top scorer 3 times.
Damn. 3
3
times?
3 times, and he scored 308 goals.
300 what?
308 goals, according to one of the websites I looked at.
I actually wonder what websites you're looking at these days.
Well, we could talk about that some other time.
Yeah, you might stump me here.
Okay, he's got
goals.
He's got let's see if I have. So he's got 4 names. There's 4 parts to his name. So you might be able to get the middle part.
He's got
the
4
middle
names.
2 parts. Yeah. It's you know how Dutch names are.
Yeah, no, for sure. So
Can't believe you don't know this, dude. It's wild.
It's
disrespectful.
Marco van de Basten.
No, that's incorrect.
No.
That's not even a real person. Come on, take this seriously. I'm taking it seriously.
Okay. Mark.
Don't even do it. Don't even try it.
Mark Van Overmars. Arsenal great Mark Overmars. That's 4 words. Arsenal great Mark Overmars.
What's his middle name?
308 goals. Like that means he didn't transfer. I was hoping that would be somebody that this is like a club guy that stayed with one club. He's like the Francesco Totti of PSV Eindhoven.
Basically, I think he had a club in between, but he went back after.
Dude.
But if you give up, I mean, if you're stumped, then I can tell you who it is. But you'll be mad. You'll be mad.
Edwin van der Sar. That's 4.
That is a goalie. That is a goal.
Oh, dude, Corey with a K.
Corey with a K is 4 words. You know, I did spend some time. I did spend some time in Holland.
All right.
Tell you what I did.
I'm stumped.
All right. Okay. All right. So come on, dude. It's Willie Vanderkoulen. Come on, dude.
Willie Vanderkoulen. I've never even heard of that guy before. Willie Vanderkoulen.
We call him Willie Vanderkoulen.
What?
And he was born in 1946. So he played.
Oh, this is crap, dude. Of course you're gonna stump me.
I mean, I just thought I would step up like the difficulty level just a little bit, but I mean, clearly you don't know that much. You really don't know that much. What are you doing?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. What was it? Wait, Willie Vanderkoulen.
Willie Vanderkoulen, I think.
Cowlin.
Yeah.
Willie Vanderkoulen. Now I know, though. Honestly, I feel like we should have a more slate.
Now you know, and knowing is half the battle.
Knowing's half the battle. You know what else you should know? You know what else? It's halftime in the Juve Milan game, and Ronaldo missed a penalty. Pinaldo missed a penalty. Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. We talked before the game, and I said just take some deep breaths, like 5 to 7. He must not have taken the 5. He must have taken 4 deep breaths. So, shoot, dude.
Yeah.
God damn, Ronaldo. He just doesn't listen sometimes. No. Like he thinks he's in his zone, but
he needs to do more quad exercises. I think more abs.
He's got great abs. Let's be honest.
He does have some great abs. I'll be honest.
He is always skating without his shirt on. He's one of those guys.
I mean,
it's great.
In some ways, we could say he's shredded. You know what I mean? I mean, like that's a Corey with the K term, like shredded, bro. You know?
I'm gonna need some time to process that. That was so good.
It was deep.
Oh my God.
It's like a deep soccer thought.
Oh. Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah.
That was really good. I got more, but if you're chilling,
let's do one more.
All right.
Corey with the K's got one more.
We'll do one more. I won't make it too much more difficult, but here's it. We'll follow suit from the last. Difficult.
Giving me some guy born in 1946.
Who is the all-time leading goal scorer of Dundee United?
What? What the? Dundee United.
Shout out Scotland. Dundee.
Come on, dude.
I played with them in FIFA Career Mode 2005. Sick team.
Wait. So when did he play? Can I at least know when his career was? Dundee United.
I believe that he was born in 1921.
Come on, Sir Alex Ferguson.
No, that's probably around how old Sir Ali Boy is.
No, he's not that old. He's not that old. I'm gonna say George Best. No, he's Welsh, I think.
Yeah, but no, it's not him.
Yeah, I think it was.
No, I'll give you one hint. His last name starts with Mick. MC. Yo, check it. I am the all-time leading scorer of Dundee. You know me and how it be.
All right, I've been stumped.
Okay, it's Peter Mackay.
Come on, dude.
I thought I knew you better.
I
thought I knew better.
How am I supposed to know that?
Willie
Vander Mackay. McKay?
That's not a real person. That's not a real person.
No, it's like a mix. It's a mesh. All right, you know what, everybody? Stump Jimmy's over. We're out of here.
All right, hey.
You know what? Peace out, Mike. There
Peace.
he is.
I'm going to go back to shredding.
Sorry, Corey with a K. Damn it, I always do that. I always break character. I suck at this. All right, later, dude. All right, Corey with a K is gone. We're going to get back into our soccer minute of appreciation. Okay? That's what we're doing here. Hold on. I want to change the badge here. We got a cool little sticker just for you guys. Could take this on this other one. Corey with a K. Stump Jimmy. That's bullshit, by the way. That's what I say. Bullshit to Mike K. Corey with a Mike K. God, I suck at this for coming up with these ones. That's not... Of course you're going to stump me when you come up with that kind of crap. Leading score of PSV Eindhoven, though I feel like I should have maybe known that. All right, so hold on. We got to get this up. It's the minute of appreciation is not for Dele Alli. I assure you. It is for Aritz Aduris. We want to honor him this week. It's a Soccer Minute of appreciation sponsored by the Soccer Minute. Make sure you follow Soccer Minute on Instagram and Twitter at @soccer_minute. And because this man had a tremendous career, we wanted to give him some love and adoration for Aduris. You like what I did there? An alliteration there? It's nice. He was the Europa League top scorer twice, as you guys can see. Won the Zara Trophy as well. What was that? Europa League squad of the season. Third top scorer in Athletic Bilbao's history. That's nothing to sneeze at. He's the oldest scorer in Athletic Bilbao history as well. Last career goal was a bicycle kick in the 89th minute against Barcelona. I think that will be the La Liga goal of the year. I voted for it before when I was working with La Liga earlier this season. I tried to do a rendition of it when I was in Mallorca, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't pull it off. Even jumping into the water, I couldn't make it work. So, yeah, we just want to give a shout-out to Aritz Aduriz, a tremendous career. Obviously, I have a soft spot for the old guys because I'm one too. And, yeah, just want to give him some love and attention. And you know what time it is, guys? It's for everybody that's been subbed for so long. It's time to do some shredding. I got to get my guitar out. We're going to shred for Aritz Aduriz. We're going to shred for Amir Lowery. Thank you for him again for coming on and talking about his run to Congress, which is awesome. But right now we're going to shred. Everybody get those emotes out, please. Get those emotes. We need to see some guitars in the chat. Start it. Spam the chat right now. I need to see some guitars, and then the sub shred will begin. Here we go. Shred it up. Come on. Let's do it. I also want to give a shout out to our Lord and Savior, Andrea Pirlo, always looking over us after every stream. Thank you guys so much for the support. This has been an awesome week, another great power hour again. I want to thank Amir Lowery. Make sure you guys follow him at Prince Lowery on Twitter and Instagram as he makes his run to Congress. I hope that he wins. I know him inside and out, and I think he would be great. He's the perfect person to run in this country and to make a difference. So I hope that Amir Lowery ends up winning. Of course, I'll keep you guys updated on that, and hopefully we can back him in any way that we can. I'll definitely be endorsing him, and I'm excited to see. I can't believe we were his first stop on his political campaign. That is a big deal. But yeah, shout out to everybody. Thank you for the spamming of the chat. Thank you for being a part of this whole process. We're still learning a lot of what we want to do and all the fun things that we want to bring to you guys, and it wouldn't mean as much if you guys weren't a part of the adventure with us. And again, we're going to try to get you guys involved as much as possible. I want you to be the next person to stump Jimmy. I want you to be part of the debate. You know, we want to make sure we honor the subscribers and all the support that you guys give, because we think that would be a lot of fun. I'm going to get the red phone back in, the hotline, the bat phone. At some point, that's going to be back involved so we can hear your beautiful voices as well. So shout out to everybody behind the scenes, Mike K, Monty, Hudson, Chike, Tyler, for making this stream a lot better than it deserves to be, a lot better than I probably deserve to have it done, but they're helping me realize and visualize a dream in many different ways, and so we're excited to see you guys. We're going to do it again next week, Tuesday, Friday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern, and we look forward to bringing you guys some special guests and having a lot of fun, so we'll see you then. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the games. Also, not this weekend because I think we're a little bit behind it, but the following weekend, we're probably going to have our first second screen experience. So we're going to try to get where we can, and that'll be another chance for a sub to also get in, right? You'll be able to join our little Foursquare and be able to watch games together. And then we'll start some gaming as well, but we're easing into everything. I got a new podcast that's dropping as well that I think you guys will enjoy. So a lot of stuff coming down the pike. But again, appreciate the support. Love you guys. And we will see you on Tuesday, 2:30 p.m. for another Jimmy Conrad Power Hour. You guys are the best. We'll see you very soon. Later.